The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media.
I'm Jen Rouse, and this is Malibu and Me. After becoming an empty nester and returning to Malibu, I'm learning what it means to begin again. Please join me each week as I unpack the messy, meaningful, and magical parts of midlife transformation. A new chapter written by me for me. This is Malibu and Me. Welcome back to Malibu and Me. And here we are. I'm here with Kimberly. Thank you for coming again.
Yes, thank you for
starting January
me.
With a lot of episodes with you, which is making me so happy.
Thank you. Likewise, I've been really dying to hear so many things from you. So thank you for sharing.
Well, we get to catch up because I was gone for so long. So
yeah.
So
as you were traveling, and for those of you that may have missed it last week, she told us all about her trip to Dubai and the Seychelles. Mm-hmm. Did I say it right?
You did.
So something that I was curious about was how the holidays were for you and what it was like having your first holiday season without your mom.
Yeah, well, today is 6 months from losing my mom. And I mean, I feel like people that have grief, experiencing grief, whether you're, in the process of losing somebody, because that's grief in itself. As you know, my mom battled for a long time, and it was nothing that you don't anticipate coming. But it's so strange to me how this journey, and you'll be able to give the audience a lot more insight because you're ahead of me by a year, right? But it's, as I'm navigating this, it's really weird. My birthday was probably one of the hardest birthdays.
So your birthday was right before the holiday.
My birthday was right after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving was tough. And I think that's part of the reason we wanted to leave.
Yeah. And I think that's a good strategy.
I needed to go. I didn't know when we planned our trip that I would be moving. That in itself came after losing my mom also. I think all of a sudden I needed a new life.
It's funny you say that because I had a similar experience. It was almost like a giant shakeup.
It's crazy.
It's like maybe a blessing or a good part of all of it.
I know they're there behind it, helping. Yeah. We've talked about that.
Right.
We were talking before the show about how much I have leaned on my newfound spirituality and astrology and just finding, I don't know if it's comfort or what it is with healers, the Reiki healer. We did that episode last week, just how these kinds of outlets for me right now are keeping me going, because there are days, honestly, that, you can't completely understand how you're going to feel day to day, month to month. And the holidays is a whole new thing for me. So my birthday's right after Thanksgiving, and my mom always made our birthdays to be really special.
How did she do that?
I don't know, but she always did. It was
would she throw a party? Would she cook?
No.
What would she do?
She would always be the first to call, and I haven't been able to listen to the old voicemails. They're saved. But it was always so she went on this thing for a really long time that it was a handbag. She'd get the girls all a very special handbag, and that would be my handbag for the year. And it was she would go, and a lot of thought went into it, of what we would like. And McCall and I were actually thinking about that. She goes, it was so weird this year. We didn't, and I bought one myself that I knew she loved. And
I love that.
Sarah's that looks just like grandma. And I'm it does. And I'm going to carry it. And it's, but the grief surrounds you all the time.
All the time.
I mean, I walk every morning and I'm talking to the air,
But you're talking to her.
I'm talking to her. And we were talking also about getting Shinka again, because it's you don't want to forget things. You know, I found myself really thinking about, God, mom would love this, or I can't wait to tell her this, you know, and you know, they're with us, right? Like I'm very, again, I found this spirituality. I know she's behind a lot of my newfound strength and letting go of things that just don't match anymore, you
Yep.
know, letting relationships go that aren't around anymore. And
Do you feel that losing your mom has brought you closer to your purpose? Like for me, I know it has,
yes,
and it's weird.
yes. And I really do think that that's sort of why this platform was important to me, to share a lot of my life's experiences with others that, God, you may think like, God, I felt that way, or that was me too, you know? I mean, that's why I gravitate to other podcasts and stuff, so that I learn about things that interest me and that I'm feeling, you know? And
100%.
I know that's our purpose, like to keep going.
To keep going and to connect, because look, grief is so personal. You know, like your relationship with your mom was one of one, just like my relationship with my mom was one of one.
Yeah.
But when when you lose a parent, what I've noticed, and this is so interesting, is it's very similar to when you have a baby. Okay. So I remember before having kids, when someone would be on maternity leave and they came back, I'd be like, hi. And I'd just talk to them normal and I'd be like, how's your baby? Okay. And it'd be like a 5-second thing. Great. You had a baby. Next subject. It's very different when you have a baby and then you come back to work and you talk to another parent, and it could be a dad or a mom.
Right.
They will spend time asking you specific questions about how are you doing now that you're a mom and you have a baby. For example, they might say, congratulations on your baby. How's the baby sleeping? Did you sleep an hour last night? And you instantly are trauma bonded with that person in the best way possible. But like, you know, you're newborn, having newborns, no joke. Same thing with when you lose a parent is what's so unexpected, is like when you say, I just lost my mom, and you say it off the cuff, if there's somebody that is in that conversation that lost a parent, they will stop the entire conversation and not only say, I'm sorry for your loss, but they'll start sharing, you'll start connecting. And I hate to say it, but I call it the Dead Mothers Club or the Dead Parents Club.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. And there's real comfort in that, you know, right?
There is.
Do you know what I'm
just don't
talking
know
about?
what you don't know.
Yeah.
Like
but has that, have
having
you
a
had
baby,
that?
like you just don't know
Right.
what it's going to be until you have that baby. You can have
You
all
can
of these.
study all the books.
Exactly.
Good luck.
And I think like you can empathize with somebody losing a parent and feel sad and know that it hurts. And, you know, it's funny you say that, because the friends that reached out to me over the holidays were the ones that had lost parents.
Of course. And like the whole time for me, I'm thinking, I wonder how she's doing, and I'm thinking of your whole family, but specifically you and Jason. And I'm thinking the whole time, I wonder how it's going. I wonder how, because like I know in the back of my mind, this is your first holiday. I know that you got yourself out of Dodge, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's important that that is something that is a strategy. Like when you're used to having firm traditions, because this happened when we lost other family members, like trying to uphold the exact same tradition in the exact same, let's just say, house.
It's painful.
It's really painful.
Yeah.
Like it's actually not a fun experience,
No.
because you're almost like sitting there pretending everything is
Trying to redo.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
You're trying to recreate magic that's never,
Yeah.
it's just gonna, so I think, do you think that it was a good, healthy strategy for you guys to mix it up?
Absolutely. And that really also played into my decision to move.
What do you mean?
couldn't-
Tell us.
I actually had a lot of like thought process around, I wish I had done it sooner when she was here, because my mom lived here. And I had toyed with that idea for a long time, but it's like the self-talk that you tell yourself, like, I can't leave. I can't go. I mean, I have this and this, and I have, you know, this set of friends. And this house and I just redid this and I need to stay. And, and it wasn't until losing her that I realized like there are no guaranteed tomorrows. There
No.
are no, it's right now.
It's literally right now.
Who knows how long, I'm now in my midlife, like it's now or never. Do what you love.
Go do it. And I swear,
and
the fact that you had that same response to losing your mom, like for me, it was my entire life changed, and in the best way. Like I always say, and tell me if this resonates with you, the moment my mom died in my arms, all fear left my body. Like I stopped caring about what other people would say. Not that I really cared that much, to be honest. I had already been raised to be very like resilient, self-sufficient, self-confident, but we hold ourselves back like you were describing. But when you lose somebody and you really realize like this ends, it's a whole different level of like shaking it up and clarity, right?
I was thinking like, you replay that. I mean, I watched her die as you did too. And you replay that event. I can
Over
tell you
and
everything
over. Every
about
night.
that whole room and the smells and the sounds and how my mom's skin felt and, everything that there are a few moments in my life that resonates, that and the diagnosis of my daughter. I remember that day. I remember where I was standing. I remember the phone. I was holding a landline. I remember what the doctor said to me. And that was 24 years ago. Like, I think there are moments in your life that that's what happens. And they carry such profound things.
Significance.
Yes. And my mom was a people pleaser, like me. And my mom was generationally like tortured in a lot of ways, that she was held back from a lot of things she wanted to express and do and allow. And I feel like we joke that, my brother jokes with me that it's like you just did all this stuff. And I just decided that I'm going to break this generational curse. I am not going to do this. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to go and I'm going to leave and I'm going to uproot and move and start over. At 52, I'm starting over with like everything. And there are people I miss, and there are like lots of things I'm sad about. I'm sad about a lot of endings that happened in my life, not just people that die and leave us, but endings.
Yep.
But I've become a person I'm not going to cling to things that are not meant anymore. I can't.
No. And so many people do that because it's comfortable. And I love the word you use. You use the word brave. That's exactly what you've been.
I really like took a deep breath and was like, leap.
You literally did. And it's invigorating and so inspiring to watch, because for you have struggled with boundaries, with self-confidence,
everything.
With independence. And to see, like, I will say, for you to be able to do it shows that if you can do it, anyone can do it, because it took a lot of guts for you.
A lot.
To do what you've done.
And a lot of like, I want to say like just believing in anything you want to believe in spiritually, and I just really had to find that. I miss my mom. I need to know what's happening. And if I'm gravitating towards a medium who's going to tell me what is happening, then that is what's giving me inner peace,
It's like, so here's the thing with the medium, because you and I, like, very similarly, my mom passed 9 months before your mom did. And the value of the healers is in the word healing, but it's more than that. It's the connection. It's a reinforcement, a reminder that they are still here.
Yeah.
With us. Yeah. And like you feel it, and they kind of help you make sense of what you're feeling, because it can be very confusing.
It just gives you some kind of tangible thing that you, because so much of grief is not tangible.
No.
There are days I'm really sad.
Oh, I know all about that.
I still haven't gone through her things.
My mom's been gone for over a year, and I go into their house, and everything is exactly the same.
I can't do
and
it.
I cannot, like, I look at her shoes, and that's creepy to a lot of people. But the thing is like, I'm not ready.
No.
And what's crazy about that is I thought that I would be one of those people that is like, all right, move on, let's go, because that's how she was. She said to me when she was dying, like one of those moments that you never forget, okay, Kim, you can start to clear out my things. And I looked at her and I said, no chance.
No chance. I can't.
But I
It's
thought
only been
I
6
would.
months and I can't. And there's some like jewelry she gave us and like things that are, it's sitting in my brother's basement. And I mean,
No, you can't do it. You're just not ready.
I can't.
That's what I've learned is like this whole grief journey is like, fuck the shoulds.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I also was going to say about your move is like, and this is such an important lesson for people and for us. And I want to like put this into the universe of like, you went with your gut. Like you were drawn, you had been tap dancing and playing and thinking and trying on coming out here, and you split your time.
Yeah.
But when you knew you were ready, you just fucking went for it.
I couldn't be in the denial of knowing I just was in, and that's back to your like intuition and
It's
knowing
your intuition.
and knowing what feels right and what doesn't. And I'm an intuitive person, but I had lost that for a long time.
We get caught up in the day to day, and we get caught up in what we think we should be doing or how things should be, or just in the mundane. I don't believe in that anymore. I'm
And
like,
fear. Fear's a
fear,
big thing.
so much fear. And then you realize when someone dies, literally that close to you, you're like, when you realize that it ends, you're like, what am I so afraid of?
There's no redo.
Seriously,
You know,
I
like-
don't care what people think about me at this point. You know, if people are not like on the same, it's like this. For me, it's like all about alignment, and that's in my personal and my business. And I refuse to settle if something is not like, whether it's a business deal, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a new activity, if it's not fitting, I don't force it and I don't judge it. I just accept it. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I'm not going to force it. It's not aligned. And you know what's so beautiful about that process? You repel what's not meant for you and what's not serving you. And when you find the people or the circumstances that are truly aligned, holy shit, there's nothing better, right?
No, and I've really come to believe that what's meant for you will not pass you by.
Agreed.
And it won't.
What I really believe, and this is a really good thing for people too that maybe aren't even in grief right now, like I really do know that what's meant for you is yours. And so why is that so important is because I think people tap dance and struggle with insecurity a lot.
Everyone
a lot of
has it.
envy, a lot of, you know, what they have and whatever. And it's like a play, and it's a powerful realization to know that nobody can take from you what is truly yours, even when people copy you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You're like, I'm like, first of all, thank you for the compliment that my influence on you is that big, and that is just validating and wonderful. And I'm happy for your joy. And if I could help you in your journey, so be it. Even if that means that on paper you stole from me or you copied me, you know, I'm not mad. I'm actually grateful because that means my life had a positive impact on you, whether you choose to recognize it or not.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you don't feel as violated because you're holding your own power. You're like, that's you and that's cool. And I made that great mark on your life. But I also know that you're not taking from me.
No.
You know, like it helps you hold your power. I don't know. I just feel like with me losing my mom, and I see it with you, and I find that fascinating, is like, it's actually helped us with our power in so many ways, right?
It really has, because it's something that you are thrown at and you have to get up and you have to keep going. And I mean, you think you're going to have your parents forever. I have flashbacks of like my childhood, and, you know, and especially you and I were really close to our mother. So that's like an added thing, you know, it's not having them. I was like, gosh, when I was having a hard day, I'm like, mom would fix it,
I know.
and
At
like,
every age.
and no, now we have to rely, there's some self-reliance and like at any age, like,
That's why I think the processing of grief is so important. And I want to say that sometimes people are grieving, like this just happened to a friend of mine, and I wanted to hit on it too, is like she's in her 50s, she has 3 kids, and her husband got diagnosed unexpectedly with Parkinson's, and she's really struggling because she thought, okay, great, he's going to retire, it's going to be great. And now she has to go back to school, the financial burden. And I told her, I said, you are showing with your actions, you are showing your kids, what it means to be resilient through your actions. And I'm like, but you have to understand, that's a curveball that you just got thrown. And like, she has a hard time, I think, expressing herself. And I'm sharing this journey because I said to her, you're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to be sad that your husband that you love and you adore has a real material health issue, and it's impacting everybody, and you didn't expect it. And like, I just feel like women, especially out there, do not give themselves grace. Like, of course you're stressed out. Of course you're sad. Of course you're depressed. Of course it's hard for you to like pick yourself back up
no, but
because
you put on a brave face.
yes,
You don't complain. I mean, this is how I was for sure. And then, like another big thing for me was like, it's when your heart is broken, or, a marriage doesn't work, or, you're just supposed to just get over it. Move on.
which I call such bullshit. I do not believe in that. I believe in processing. I believe in facing, like even something as tangible, going back to your example of having specific memories. A lot of people will say, oh, don't think about that, it's negative.
Yeah.
Well, actually I challenge that. And for me, that is not a working strategy.
No.
I don't believe suppressing your feelings is healthy. I believe it makes you sick. And I believe
I did that for a long time.
We all have. And that's when you see a lot of substance abuse, you see depression, you see stress, anxiety, all kinds of bad things.
Yeah.
It's because people are not facing the hard facts. And I think what you're doing so wonderfully and what I've been doing is really facing, like going back through the trauma and those traumatic times, and instead of pushing them aside, let myself walk through it again and play it back and process what I need to process.
Yeah.
Because that, in those moments, you're in high stress and you're not really thinking about yourself. But guess what? When that person's gone, you're still left with the trauma.
Right.
So I really believe that processing those emotions, even if they're uncomfortable or ugly for other people, if someone cannot hold space for you, that's on them. Like when Brian, like my husband, he's wonderful, but he's never lost his parents. Thank God, because we're so close with his parents.
Right.
But when he is trying to help me, sometimes I'm like, that's not helpful for me. I need to remember these memories right now. Like it's part of my
Talk
processing.
about it. And
Like I need to cry right now. I don't want to push it aside. I need to cry. I need to go through these, emotions and hit it head on, because that's what's healthy. Because once you've gotten through that bout of crying or remembering of your traumatic experiences, like only then do you feel like, okay, I released that. And now I feel like, okay, now I can go out into the world again and, have a smile or, redirect my energy in a different way. Right. I mean, it's part of the process, right?
it really is. And it's like taken me 50 something years to know that, everybody has feelings around things, their own perceptions, their own hurts, their own experiences that shape who you are. And really like your own childhood wounds, your own things that, your insecurities, your ego. We all have ego. We all have narcissism. We all have, and so it's how we choose to acknowledge those wounds and learn from them. And that's why I really wanted to do the show. Like, I really want to share my processes of going through. And it's okay for me to admit that I was insecure. I had no self-worth. I was very, very, had no boundaries whatsoever. I let people walk all over me, and okay, I was that person, but I'm learning not to be that anymore.
Yeah. And that's
And
beautiful.
life is a process, and life is, about growing and changing. And your friend that's having, her husband ill, like, I raised a daughter that I still have a ton of unknowns about. And having to really acknowledge that grief. She will never be able to run. She will never be able to just be free. And I'm allowed to just not put on that brave face and be like, oh, but Sarah's great and Sarah's happy and Sarah's fulfilled. She's all those things. But there is that other side. There is
it's her
grief
reality.
around it.
Of course.
As a parent, you want your child to have ease and not have everything be so hard.
Right.
Just like my mom wanted me to be able to have, a marriage that worked, and I wasn't a doormat, and, I didn't redo the same patterns that I'm sure she didn't want that for me.
No.
But I had to live my own experience, and I had to go through that, and I had to, so I think having lost her definitely gave me the momentum, like you said, that to be different and look at things different. And they make all those qualities make us who we are. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's so easy for everybody to project, oh, well, let's put on a brave face. We're strong. We're all those things too.
It depends on the moment. Sometimes you're strong, and sometimes, like, going through grief like this, it's like, genuinely, I will tell you, the grief could literally kill you. It is that severe. Like, I am not joking. When you hear of people dying of a broken heart,
no, I really,
like, I understand that now.
It is.
Bad.
Some days are just like,
it's like
not surmountable. And I really feel like the hard days, when I have the really hard days, is when you do want to isolate, and you do want to, and it's
100%. It's a fight. It's literally a fight. I mean, I just had a podcast episode that I did at the end of the year, and I was bawling the whole time.
Yeah.
I had a severe depression one day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not someone that, I don't feel that I battle depression, in terms of just my history.
Yeah.
But the grief is so bad. If you do not fight and have people and have support and have all the things we're talking about around you, which is why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, if you have not lived it, you don't understand the importance of how, it is severe. It's
very
bad.
Very. And I can't even
really
imagine the people that have lost children.
No. That's the worst.
That feels like, I don't know that I could ever survive that.
And people want to be like, well, we want to put out all happy vibes and this and that. But the reality is, like, that's really toxic. It's toxic positivity. Like, it really is. I think showing your tears, it's not relatable. It's not authentic, and it's not real life. No. But here's the great news, at least for me, is like, the processing is so cathartic. It's so important to face the grief head on. Some people, they go to therapists. I don't feel like I've needed that because I have such a good support system, and I think I have a positive narrative in my head. But you're allowed to be sad when things aren't working out. You're allowed to be afraid. You're allowed to be unsure of yourself. You're allowed to be insecure. You're allowed to be depressed even. But also, for me, I think that if you don't have self-will and strength, like, I forced myself the day I was really down to it's like literally baby steps, like, go get caffeine in the fridge, then go outside, go on a walk, and, reach out to someone that you can be honest with about how you're doing. You need to fight. It's a fight. It's an actual mental fight to move through your grief and
Yes.
Not do, like, I could see why people fall into dark depressions and
Drinking and
drinking and
like, yeah.
drugs or whatever you might do to band-aid
Well,
it.
there's a
Like,
reason there's so much self-medicating, you
right,
know?
there's a reason.
Yep.
And I have real empathy for people like that. But that is why this conversation really does matter.
It does. And I think it opens conversation to another conversation because you have this grief, and then what are you going to find? Like for me, finding these spiritual healers and is my like lifeline, right? So
I get it. Same.
and that's what I've been really I've been cultivating my life around now.
It's
You know?
very validating and reaffirming to be with the healers because they pick up on things like whether you have a blocked, like you're not receiving or you're not, whatever's going on with you internally, they almost bring it to the surface and they put a name to it
They know.
and they know.
Yeah, the
And
chakras. And, yeah.
And then they help heal.
Yeah.
In their work, which is why we love Sherry Reiki, why we love Shinka.
Yeah.
There's something really interesting about it. And same with the astrology, which I think
I love that too.
Yeah, and Kira.
I really want to meet this astrologer.
Yeah, Kira has a great astrologer that we're really excited. We're going to have to bully her on.
I have to, because especially with all of these all the things happening right now, it's a fascinating year.
Yes, it's a 1 year. So we were saying in numerology, and this is me kind of like getting into more of the woo-woo stuff, but I've really come to respect it because it's actually mathematical. So, but like on the numerology side, last year, 2025 was a 9-year, which is about shedding and endings and wrapping up things. Now we've moved into a 1 year. So if you do the math, like 2026 is a 1 year when you add up the numbers.
Right.
And so it's a year of new beginnings. There's the year of the horse, which is supposed to be like fiery momentum and all of that stuff.
Let's go full speed ahead.
Yeah. And I feel that energy. Are you feeling that energy?
Very much.
Like the first week of January, I felt like I was sprinting into my new life.
I'm just suddenly getting into all kinds of projects and things, and just like,
What other fun projects do you have going on?
I mean, I have still a lot of home stuff that I'm doing, closets and organizing, and I'd love to still get the organization gal on here because that's just so helpful. I'm not great with spatial things. I've never been like a math person, spatial person. Like, so to get somebody to help me with that is really great. So I'm still doing some home stuff. I am going to take this chakra class with Sherry. She's going to do an online Zoom type thing where you learn about, I'm diving into that. I'd love to take some astrology classes. It's funny. I've never thought about going back to like, education of stuff. But you're
interested.
I am wanting to. Yeah.
I look forward to hearing more about that from you because I've gotten into so many different cool people. Like I will say thank you Instagram and TikTok and YouTube because there's great content out there in terms of like your sign, your sun, your moon, your rising, what that means for you, with where the planets are. And I've gotten really into it too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then your natal chart and learning all about like your, I mean, it's just, listen, it's not for everybody, but it's certainly been something I've been really loving and, educating myself on.
Well, here's a cool hack for people. They can go so if you know your birth time, that's really important. If you still have your parents that are alive, make sure you get your birth time. That matters for where the planets were at the moment you were born. And it matters for your rising sign, which is the way that the world sees you.
Yes.
And so make sure you do that and then plug it into a free astrology chart.
Yeah.
And what I did was because some of those analyses are like very detailed and I don't they'll be like, well, your fourth house has Saturn. And I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Like you lost me. So what I did was I actually copied my free astrology chart and I put it into ChatGPT and I said, can you summarize this for me and tell me what types of business dealings make sense for me? Like I worked with it in ChatGPT to like almost be my in-house astrologer. Of course, I'd love to have a real reading, but I'm just saying it's a fun way to kind of get to know more about yourself and
and
understand
your personality traits and things that make you you. And
it's really quite detailed and fascinating.
It's cool. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Well, thank you so much for
thank
sharing.
you.
I'm sorry for all your grief.
Yeah, I'm sorry for yours too.
Thank you. But I'm proud of you. You did make it successfully through your first birthday
And the
without your
holidays.
mom and the holidays, which is not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not. So,
Her birthday will be the next challenge, but we'll get there when we get there in May.
Yeah.
So, but, for everybody out there that's dealing with this, feel free to write in any questions that, I can try to answer some of the things that
Yeah.
have helped me. I still do have a lot of therapy and talk therapy and journaling. And so there are some things that have helped me a lot. And then, the daily routines of walking. There's something really great about walking
agreed.
that I encourage. I mean, my therapist encouraged me, but there's something about moving your body. And I do
Yes.
that first thing every morning. And it's, everybody has 15 minutes,
15 minutes gets your
Mel Robbins talked
endorphins.
about that. She was
Yes.
like, everybody has 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I know people are busy. I know there's not a lot of time, but
Find it.
find
Just
your
go do
find
it.
your 15 minutes.
Yeah, find your 15 minutes for yourself. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you too.
having me on again.
Yay. And I'm
love
excited
you.
for the new season and all the new healers we're going to find because we have some fun ones lined up. So
Yes, we do. We have a lot of fun things that we're going to share with everyone. But, right now we're just putting together the pieces for some of it.
Just
so
getting
stay
back to work,
tuned.
back
Yeah.
to January.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love
Well,
it.
thank you everybody for joining us on Malibu and Me, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Thanks, Kim.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Malibu and Me. Make sure to follow the show at Malibu and Me Podcast. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so grateful for a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Here's to growing, healing, and beginning again together.